G'day and welcome back to part 2 of this Biennophone radio from Switzerland. This was sent to me by my friend Blitz in Germany. In part 1 I replaced all the usual suspects. The radio worked. I did an alignment and it's working quite well. This week I'm going to start on the case and finish the radio off. Before I start on the case, I'm going to try and whiten this grill up a bit. I'm not 100% sure it wasn't that colour to start with because the back is exactly the same colour as the front. So anyway, I've got some peroxide here. I'm going to do the RetrObright procedure. The peroxide I've got is only 3%, so it's pretty light, but it's a liquid, and I thought that might work better than trying to get a gel to go into all the spots. So I have one of these Saver Seal type plastic bags here. I'll pour the peroxide in. It's the whole bottle. Normally I would blow these bags up as a balloon so that the plastic wasn't touching the grill. But I think I'll suck it down a little bit this time, and then it can make sure that liquid stays on the grill itself. That'll do. I just wanted to pull some of the air out. The grill is completely covered in the liquid now, so I'll put this out in the sun and I'll have a look at it later today. So I have a look at this case, and it's not in as bad a condition as I thought it was. I'll put a bit of terps on there and see if it'll clean up. Now, I fully intended refinishing this, and I may still do it. We'll see how it comes up. Someone's put sticky tape there, and that's made a mess. Yeah. This has had some tape on it at some point, and the gum's left there. The turpentine's not taking it off. I'll try something else. I've got a bit of isopropyl alcohol here. See if that'll take it off. If that doesn't work, I'll use a bit of metho, or methylated spirits. It's not working. Okay, metho it is. I'll do some methylated spirits, or I think you'd call it denatured alcohol or something, or wood alcohol. That might be taking it off. Nope. Not really. Now I'm upsetting the finish. Okay, next plan. That's really taking the finish off there. So that's a waste of time. Maybe I can just sand the whole thing off. That's getting it off. Taking the case back to wood, of course. Yeah, okay. Yeah. All right. I'll continue sanding it back. I may not go right back to the wood. No, I'm not sure. I'll see how I go. I've sanded the case back here and on the edges. I filled up a couple of little chips down the bottom there. It's still got some of the original finish on there, I'm pretty sure. But I think it'll be okay. I'll just do it from there. They had sanded through down here, and I've avoided that as much as I can, but the factory's done that. Yesterday, after I sanded it, I redid the black down the bottom here. So my plan is to apply this shellac mixture again, as I've done the last few radios. I'll apply that, let it dry off, then I'll put the stain over that, and then I'll put the finish over that. I'm not going to refinish in here. This looks good enough. It's perfect actually. So I'll just leave that and I'll spray over the top of it with the top coat. I'll start on the ends here with this shellac mix. And that's all it takes. Just rub it on, let it tack off slightly, and then rub it off again. Same on the other end. This is very thin mixture of shellac. Now hopefully this will give it an even base for the stain to go to, and it won't have highs and lows where there's bits of filler. It'll soak into the filler if I put it straight on top of the filler. Alright, I'll let that sit for a day or so, and then I can put the stain on it. I've let the coat of shellac dry overnight, and I'm just cleaning it up with some 000040 steel wool, just to get any of the sort of swirl marks off. So it's looking pretty good. I don't want the stain to get on this light edge along here, so I've got some painter's edge tape here which should maybe keep the stain out. The stain's pretty thin, so this may not work, but I'll just run a very, very dry stain rag across there so I don't kind of wick in there. So let me put this on and I'll come back and we'll put some stain on. And I've got some oak coloured stain here. I'll try that. I hope it doesn't darken it too much. And this should be alright. It's not doing much at all actually. That should look pretty good. It's even hidden the repairs down the bottom pretty well, so that's good. Now this is the other end, and this is coming up nice. This had no damage on it at all. And lastly, I'll do the top, and I'll see if it covers that sand through bit there, which it won't, but it might disguise it enough. They got away with it for 50 years or so. Yeah, that's come up okay. There's the damage there. You can still see it, but it's not too bad. It'll be fine. I'll let that dry for a few minutes to just buff off any excess stain that's there. Yeah, actually you almost can't see that. It just looks like part of the wood. So yeah, that's fine. I'll run the stain around the edge there. It's pretty dry, so it shouldn't wick through that paper there. Just enough to re-coat it, if you like. That's just a very light coat on there. Looks good. I'll just buff that little bit that got around the edge there. Good, very good. All right, I'll let that sit for, well, 4 or 5 hours, maybe tomorrow, and I'll put some top coat on. It's been drying for about half a day. It's ready to put some top coat on it. As usual, I use this Duramax. I'll put 6, 7, 8 coats on it, let it dry for a week, and then I'll rub it back, polish it, and we'll have a look at it when it's all finished. I'll finish painting the case. I'll set it aside for a week or so, then I can rub it back and polish it. In the meantime, I need to cut a new back, and I have made the pattern up, and I've made a test cut, and it was okay. I made a few adjustments, so it should be fine. I'm going to use this card again. It's 1800 GSM. It's about 3mm thick, or about 1/8, and I've got some black paper here. This is binder backing, so it's what you put on those spiral bind folder things that you make up. And it's got a little bit of a leathery look about it, so that should be all right. As with the one I did at the time spot, I'll glue that on. And I'll do the same as I did last time, use some spray adhesive, let it dry off for a bit, put it over, and let it set. I'll let that tack off for about 5 minutes, then I can join it together. That's been about 5 minutes and that's dried off, so I can just put the two together and rub it over with a little bit of a squeegee thing here. I'll let that dry. I'll set up the laser so I can cut the new back. Here's the board, and I just got to try and get it back into the radio if I can. Oh, there it goes. Yeah, there it is. I'll give this a coat of clear lacquer to stop the moisture getting in, and tomorrow I can put all the lettering back on. I've put the text on the back and it looks really good. I'm pretty happy with it. There's a couple of little areas that I could probably fix up, some wavy lines here, but overall it looks pretty good. I used high temperature iron-on vinyl to put the text on. The iron-on vinyl cuts much better than the permanent vinyl, particularly for small stuff like this. The heat didn't affect the cardboard either, so that was good. So the iron-on was the way to go. The symbol for the dipole antenna didn't line up, so I cut it and put it on separately. The Biennophone logo didn't line up either, so I ironed that on separately as well. I also reproduced the little green sticker, so I can glue that on as well. So that's done. I'll just put it aside till it's ready to go on the radio. Before this can be put back in the case, I need to address the selenium rectifier and the mains voltage. This radio runs on 220 volts, that's the highest rating on the selector here, but we in Australia run at about 240. Officially we changed to 230 volts back in the 80s, but it was on paper only, nothing really changed. I have this meter plugged into the mains now and we're 244, which is about what we get during the day. The problem I have with this radio is twofold. I need to drop the filament voltage or get it back to 6.3. If I plug this into 240, the filament's going to be too high. I also need to replace the selenium rectifier and drop that voltage as well. But I'll do the mains one first, so I'll work out what resistor I'll need to drop the mains back to cope with the 240. I'll set the power here to 240 volts odd. That's okay. I've got my meter on AC and I'll connect the lead to the little dial lamp here. It's easy to get to. There's no resistor between there and the filament, so it's the same voltage as the filament. So I'll power it up. I'll let it stabilize for a minute or two. It's been running for a minute or so. It's on FM. It's stabilized at 6.7 volts and we're right on 240 volts there. So I need to put a resistor in here and that will drop that back to hopefully 6.3. 100 ohm resistor usually does the job. I've put a 100 ohm 5 watt resistor in the line that's going to the set. This is plugged into the mains. This is very dangerous, so I'm going to keep well away from it. We're still roughly on 240 volts. I'll put the power on again, let it settle down, and I'll come back and see how much it's dropped it. The voltage is settled now. It's reading 6.2, no, it's 6.3, and we're on pretty much exactly 240 volts. So the 100 ohm resistor will do. I'll just work out how to mount it. I've made a little bracket and I've mounted the resistor behind there. It's sitting between the bracket and the power transformer. I think that'll be okay. It'll drain some of the heat from the resistor into the transformer, which is a large bulk, and send some of it back into the chassis here. I don't think it's going to be an issue for the transformer. I'll put some power on. I'll let that stabilize and I'll adjust it to 240 volts. It's been a few minutes. It's on 240, nearly 241, and we've got 6.32. That'll be fine. I'll leave that like that. I need to address the selenium rectifier now. Here's the selenium rectifier here, and not surprisingly it's a Phillips one. There's the two actives going in there from the secondary of the transformer. That's the positive going out and that's the negative going out. These selenium rectifiers generally drop about 20 volts going through the diodes. I'm going to replace them with silicon. The silicon diodes will only drop maybe in total about 2 or 3 volts. So when you normally fit silicon diodes, you put a resistor in here and that drops the extra 20 odd volts. Manuel Caldeira from Electronics Old and New came up with this idea. He originally did little boards like this and they have 4 diodes, 4 silicon diodes, and up here he had a line of resistors. But he did a bit of thinking and came up with the idea of using a MOSFET. It also has a little adjustable resistor there, variable resistor. I'll leave a link below and you can go and have a look. Manuel will explain this much better than I can. So I should be able to precisely adjust this to get the required voltage and not have to play around with resistors and calculations. The only difference is the resistor goes in here normally. This actually goes in the negative line between there and the chassis or ground. These old wires need to come off. They're not sticking on very much. Hopefully these screws are self-tapping and they haven't got a nut on the back. I think they're coming out. So I'll take those 2 screws out and take the selenium out. I've cut out a bit of this high temperature press board and I'm going to mount it on that, and then I can mount it straight on this plate here. I'll solder the wires on, screw it down, and I'll come back and have a look. It's installed, ready to test out. I'll set it on 240 volts. I'll just turn it on. It's a little over 240 at the moment, but that'll drop. I've let it warm up for a minute or so. It's on 240 volts and we have 270. We need 265. Let's try and adjust it. I'll go anti-clockwise. I've put a little bit of heat shrink on there to stop the screwdriver falling off on a bit of an angle there. Oh, hang on. Oh no, 265 wasn't it? Oh, that came up quick. Okay. So 265. Well done, Manuel. I've had the radio running for a good half an hour now. Let's see what temperature that MOSFET's up to. So that's it there. It's running at about 60 degrees after half an hour. It's pretty warm in here today. So yeah, you could put a little heatsink on there if you wanted to, but that's well within its limits. The case has been drying for a week now. I should be able to go and finish that off. This case has been drying for a few days now. Something I'll just point out, this area here where they've gone through the veneer, it's actually got a big divot out of it. I'll see if I can get it in the camera. Yeah, it's a bit hard. But it's actually got a scoop out of it. So I don't know what's happened. I don't know if Sven was on the drink the night before, or it's got stuck, or somebody's refinished this prior to me doing it. I don't think it has been. It didn't look like it had been done before, but yeah, never know. And another thing is I should have darkened that little bit of wood there with a bit of stain or something. It shows up a bit more than I'd hoped. I mean, it's not that bad, but I should have done better than that. My new policy is not dwell greatly on the case. I'll still show what I'm doing though. P600 is wet and dry I'm using to just take the top off that, and then I'll polish it with some automotive polishers. A bit of water on there, and I'll just get that to adhere. It tends to want to, not stay there. It will once the paper cuts through the first layer though. You might be able to see there's some white forming there, and once that starts up, the paper slides quite well and the water sticks to it. I've removed the sanding block. I'll just try and very carefully sand out where that divot is. There we go. That's coming out okay. It leaves a little bit more. I'll just do a little bit more, then I'll start polishing it. I've probably been doing this for another 2 or 3 minutes, and it's coming up pretty good. It's getting rid of all the highs and lows in the finish there, and yeah, it's looking good. So I can stick some polish on it, I think. I'll just hit that little bit there. I'm very nervous about going too close to that. I've got my green cutting compound. It's automotive cutting compound. We've done this so many times, so I'm just going to very quickly blast through it. This is pretty coarse, this cutting compound, so you've got to be a little bit careful. You can hear how coarse it is as I rub it back. That should do it. I won't go too far. That'll come out with a nice matte finish, hopefully. Yeah, there it is. I'll finish this off now with my cream cut and polish. This is light. It will bring the the polish back, or the gloss back. That's polished. It's left a film on it. But if I polish that off, it should be reasonably shiny underneath. Alright, that looks pretty good. Let's see what it looks like. Let's try and get the light on. Yeah, so it's not bad. There it is. Looks pretty good. And probably see that divot now. Yeah, there it is there. You can see it. There's not much I could do with that. Apart from re-veneer the whole top, I don't know what else I could do. As I said, I should have darkened that light bit off. Anyway, that's what it is. 60-year-old radio. It's got some battle scars, I guess. I'll try something else. I bought this ages ago and I've never actually used it. It's a soft wax, another automotive product. So I'll chuck that on. I'll see what it looks like. This is not going to polish anything. I'll just put a wax over the top. I've left that wax layer dry. Ooh, it's slippery. So I'll just give it a quick buff, see what it looks like. So there it is. Looks good. Yeah, okay. It's left a bit of a film on there. I'll keep buffing it, but that looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that, so I'll leave that. I've got to do the sides. The front, I put some coats of the clear over it. I didn't stain it or anything like that. I just cleaned it up, put a couple of coats of clear on it. I'll just give that a quick polish and I'll leave it at that. Everything's finished. I think we can put the radio back in the case. The first thing to go in is the grill. I soaked this in hydrogen peroxide, left it out in the sun for a few days, and I don't think it made a lick of difference. It's exactly the same colour. So I think that was the original colour. The grill goes in, just sits there. The speaker goes on top. And there's some little cleats to go in there. I'll turn the cameras off and put them in and come back. Alright, I've got the 3 little cleats in there. Yeah, that's quite solid. I need to connect the speaker wires. Looks like these wires were originally just tacked on, so I'll do the same. I've put a little bit of flux on there as well. Alright, I can put the radio back in the case. These speaker wires are so long, but let's turn around and have a look in the front. Nice. That doesn't look bad. Yeah, that looks nice. Alright. Now I've still got to put some knobs on, and I've got to put the back on. I'll do the knobs. This is the only knob I had, and if you saw part 1, you'll know that a gentleman over in, I'm not sure where he was, Germany or Switzerland, I'm not sure, but he had a small museum. Blitz, who sent me this radio, went and saw him, and he took one of these radios off the shelf, pulled the knobs off, and measured them all for me. So they sent those over. So I've got the photos here, as you can see. So I was able to reproduce them, and I decided to print them. I didn't have a mold to start with, so I might as well print them. So that's them there. That's the little fella, of course, and that's come up pretty good, and that's the one that goes behind it. Now I can't put them on like that, so I took them out to my workshop. The first thing to do was run a 3mm tap through the hole in the plastic and insert a grub screw. I cleaned them up in the lathe. The small knob has a dish in the front. It didn't print very well, so I put some body filler in there and used a bit of sandpaper to smooth it out. It came up quite nice. I sprayed them with some primer filler, and that sands up very smooth. Then a number of top coats and let them sit for a few days, and then a final polish with some cutting compound to remove that paint look. And this is how they've turned out. I'm pretty happy the way they turned out, but it's the wrong colour. It's supposed to be ivory. It's supposed to be whiter than that. This is a cream colour. I'm going to fit these at the moment, but I need to go and get maybe some automotive paint that'll go closer to matching these keys. It's not that far from the grill up here, but it's not the same as the keys. This is the tone one. I'll stick that on. It's a good fit. I'll do a little grub screw up. This one's the volume. This is the tuning. Alright, put that one in there. There we go. All done. Well, they look good. They look really good. The colour, I'm not happy with the colour, so I will change them. It's closer than I thought, actually. It's not quite as bad as I thought it was going to be. Alright, let's have a look at the back. Alright, just doing a last minute check. Everything's in place. I'll try and get this cover on. That's it. That's as far as it goes. These are 3mm studs to put some nuts on. The back looks so good, I'm not just going to put ordinary nuts on there. I'll make some new ones. Now, funny thing happened. I was cleaning the machining oil off these, and my wife stuck her head around the door there and said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm cleaning the oil off my nuts. I'll come in and show you when I've finished." She said, no, I'm fine, thanks." Went back inside. Alright, that looks sensational. They're not the right shape knobs. I think the original one sort of had a spherical end on them or something, but that'll do. I can't do spheres on my lathe. I don't have the little tool. So that'll do. They look good. I have it plugged in. Let's try it out. Put it on medium wave. So let's turn it up.
We're crossing
Whoa.
to an opening night of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I've got someone in the wings there who's going to talk about the role of stage parents.
Alright. So that's the ABC.
I mean, he turned 19 in the middle of the season. I mean, many of
That's a sports station.
Just a matter of guesswork, actually, to say how
I think that's Radio Australia, or what it's called now. I can't remember. Radio National.
More people coming to a place where...
I think that's a news station.
Cabri.
Harry, grabbing its back.
And of course there's our sports station. Beach Boys. For that tiny little speaker, it actually sounds pretty good. Right, I've got to keep turning it down so we can listen to a little bit of it. I'll put it on FM. We'll have a listen to that. Alright, now I'm just using the AM aerial there. I do have FM in here, but not at the moment. It's not working. I've got to get up on the roof and fix it. Alright, that's the local station. It's pretty much just picking it up without an antenna, I guess. Now there's a religious station up there.
As David said when his child died, he cannot come to me, but I will go to him.
So that comes through loud and clear with no aerial.
The what you don't know stuff, but go to what you do know. And replace what you don't know with thoughts about what you do know.
That's sage advice. I'll go back here. Should be there somewhere. There it is. There it is. I reckon it looks cute. It's quite good. That speaker, I haven't used that speaker to test it before, so it sounds pretty good for the size of the radio. Sounds good. That's it for this radio. It's a Biennophone from Switzerland. It's a model 6303, built in about 1963. It looks good. I'm really happy with it. The knobs, I did try and get some other paint for it, and I couldn't get anything any better than that, so I'll leave that as it is. They don't look as bad as I thought they were going to. But I'm very happy with the radio. The cabinets come up quite nice. It's better than what I thought it was going to be. The laser cut back looks fantastic, and the printing, even though it's not perfect, it actually looks better than if it was perfect. So I'm happy with the little wriggles in it. It looks like it's original. And once again, a big thank you to Blitz for sending this radio to me. It's really nice. It's a really nice little radio. It's going to look great up on the shelf. And also the guy that owned the museum and took the knobs off his display radio, measured them and sent all the photos. Fantastic. I just can't believe people do that sort of thing. I hope you enjoyed the series on this little radio, and I hope you can join me next time for my next radio adventure.